Hi, and welcome to Missed It by How Much. This is the channel that tests sports hypotheses by using computer game engines. We've hit the All-Star break and our goal to help the Dodgers win the National League West without Alfredo Griffin at shortstop. And we need to play an All-Star game. So this will be like a helpful hints type of mistakes I've made to help you if you choose to make an all-star game in your season that you do. There's an easy way to do it. All it requires is going down from the organize button at the top and pushing the create all-star team. And that's what I did with this file that you see in front of you. But there was a problem with it I had, and I'll show you why. Looking at the rosters, I didn't feel like the best players were chosen. Now, these are good players. All of these pitchers are good. I don't know if I didn't go and check to see if every team was represented and if that was a requirement as to why certain players were picked. But Dave Stewart, who's had a decent season, wouldn't make my all-star team. Whereas some of the players that are listed here, Ben McDonald, Eric Hansen, they would. Kevin Tapani definitely deserves to start. But Tom Bolton, I feel like, just misses the cut. Then looking at the players in the American League, some of them were slam dunks. Cecil Fielder, Mark McGwire, Ricky Henderson, Canseco, Winfield. All of these guys made it, but not Lance Parrish. Not Ken Griffey Jr., believe it or not. Not Mike Greenwell. Not Paul Molitor. Not even Rafael Palmeiro, who's had a great season, but unfortunately plays the wrong position to get an opportunity. Just for fun, so you can see, I'll show you the National League roster based on this as well. Kevin Mitchell should make it. Andre Dawson, definitely. Ron Gant, Darryl Strawberry. Bobby Bonilla does not make mine. Matt Williams is having a down year. I don't believe he deserves to be an all-star. Some of these other ones, Mariano Duncan definitely does not deserve to be an all-star. And here you see the pitchers that they've chosen. As good as Ramon Martinez has pitched lately, he doesn't deserve to be an all-star. So therein lies the problem, because when you do push that button and create an all-star team, that's the only players you have to choose from. I can't go over here and draft some more players because there are 0 free agents found. So I can't alter the roster the way I want it to be. So I wish it was super easy to just push a button and play the... Oh, there was one other error that I saw in the roster management, and that is all of these pitchers are starting pitchers. And while you could say starting pitchers pitch the majority of the innings, that's true, there are relief pitchers that deserve to make the all-star team as well, and there's no way to put them on this team. So that's an error I see in the way the roster is formulated. And I can't go and, as I showed you, use free agents to change the order or change the makeup of my roster. So I went about to try to make a new league so that I could create both rosters the way I felt like was a fair way to build a all-star team or an all-star team. So that requires me to go back to the original season, the minus Alfredo Griffin 1990 season, and look and see what criteria is the most important to me, and then choose the players based on that criteria. And for me, I've always thought of the game as you're trying to score more runs than give up. So you want your pitchers to prevent runs from scoring as much as possible, and you want your position players that hit to score as many runs as possible. So the two stats that I look at the most for hitting would probably be WAR, but this game does not show us any statistics related to WAR. And the RC27, runs created per 27 outs with that player, is interesting to me, but I haven't bought into it enough yet. I've seen inconsistencies where I've seen certain players that I think are better or misranked based on RC27. So I'm going with the old OPS. And I would, for this one, I'm going to put the position down because I need to know the position. And I'm going to do National League first, and I'm going to make sure the stats are on the replay only. You can use the reel, and I'll show you that later. But that's what I'm going to use as my criteria. The other criteria I have is you got to play enough. And to me, that was at least 50 games or more, and at least 200 at-bats, or plate appearances, either one, to qualify. And then I just went the OPS, highest OPS all the way down. If you had enough at-bats or plate appearances to qualify, you made the team. And in that order, I chose 2 from each position so that we had backups to play the game in case somebody got hurt or I had to pinch hit for somebody. We're playing in a National League park, Wrigley Field, like the real 1990 All-Star game. So pitchers are going to be, there's no DH, so pitchers are going to have an opportunity to hit. We'll pinch hit for them. And so I gave the team roster at 8 positions with 2 each, that's 16 spots, and 10 pitchers each, that's 26. And then I took 2 random that were the best 2 hitters that we had in the league, regardless of position, like 2 wild cards. So all I did is go down the list. They're in order, so I don't have to look over here. I gotta look at positions, and I need to look at plate appearances. Gerald Clark has played well, but not enough at-bats or plate appearances. Dave Madigan, surprising to me, is the first person I ran into. So Madigan will be the starting first baseman. Excuse me. Next up, Barry Bonds will play left field. He qualifies. Jack Clark has 52 games, but not enough plate appearances, so he does not as the backup. David Justice, surprising to me, beat out Andre Dawson. Now, it does say first base, but if you look at Justice's fielding, he's played almost exclusively in right field, a few games. So he beats out Andre Dawson, who the computer has chosen as MVP up to now. So you have Andre Dawson, who makes it, has a backup. Kevin Mitchell will be a backup to Barry Bonds. There he is. Lenny Dykstra will start in center field. Bill Doran will start at second. Eddie Murray will back up first. Not enough plate appearances. Cal Daniels will be a wild card since we already have 2 left fielders. Darryl Strawberry will be a wild card since we already have 2 right fielders. So unfortunately that means Bobby Bonilla will not be in the All-Star game, which I feel is terrible since he leads the league in RBI, but there has to be a cutoff at some point. In center field, Ron Gant will back up Dykstra. Ryan Sandberg will back up Bill Doran at second. Mike Scioscia will start at catcher. Darren Daulton will back him up. Then we just keep going down the list. Unfortunately, Tony Gwynn does not make it. Tim Wallach will start at third base. could put Mike Sharperson on the team at third base, but to be fair, he plays multiple positions, and even though he does play third base the most, I'd like to see a starter there, so I declined using Mike. Even though he should be giving kudos for his first half. Charlie Hayes will be the backup third baseman. Jeff Blauser will start at shortstop. And surprisingly, a guy who didn't even start the season and has really made our season, I feel like, Jose Vizcaino will be rewarded as the backup shortstop. I believe that's it. And I did that for the pitchers as well. For the pitchers, I'm looking at what kind of run prevention they can do for me, and to me, the best is ERA. That's the stat I look at the most. And so the criteria there was minimum 30 innings for relievers and 100 for a starter. So then I just went down the list. Lee Smith makes it as a reliever. I don't care about saves. I'm sorry to say that, although we will have Jeff Brantley make it, and he had 12 saves. That's pretty good. Saves is like a counting statistic, like wins. I want the best pitchers. Mark Thurman qualifies, as does Larry Anderson, and Randy Myers, who also has double-digit saves. Those are my 5 relief pitchers. Lee Smith again, Jeff Brantley, Larry Anderson, Mark Thurman from the Giants, and Cincinnati's Randy Myers. Then we go to starters. That should be easy. Doug Drabek, John Tudor, Frank Viola, Danny Darwin, and Mike Hartley are the 5 starters. Looking at the American League. Same thing. Scott Radinsky, who has really outplayed his real statistics. Look at these numbers. But deserving, because I look at the first half of the season. I don't look at what has this guy done previously. Is he well liked? What's his reputation? I'm just trying to reward the players that have played the best. And look at this. He's faced 32 batters, left-handed batters, given up 1 hit, 14 Ks. It's ridiculously good. He deserves to be on the All-Star team. Beyond that, Rick Aguilera has been outstanding for the Twins, and he does have 15 saves, if you want to look at that. Greg Olson deserves to be on it as well. Brian Holton just misses the cut. Lance McCullers from Detroit and Gene Nelson round out the top relievers. Honeycutt just missing. And then as you look down the list, Eckersley wouldn't even qualify. He hasn't played enough, although he's played well. Okay, so then we go to starters. Tapani is the first one that I see there at 100. He'll make the team and start. Ben McDonald has pitched really well. He'll play in the bullpen. Randy Johnson has 134 innings. He deserves to start. Roger Clemens, and then Eric Hansen, as Seattle gets two of their starters on the All-Star team. Tom Bolton just missing. And then to the hitters, the batters. We'll do the same thing for the American League. Ricky Henderson will lead off and start in left. Mark McGwire at first. Jose Canseco right. Dave Henderson in center field. Cecil Fielder will back up McGwire. Dave Winfield will back up Canseco. Fred McGriff will be an at-large or wild card batter on the team. Travis Fryman will start at third. Ellis Burks will back up Henderson in center. Barfield will also be a at-large. George Brett misses it only because he plays first. Unfortunately for George. Kelly Gruber will back up Fryman at third. Palmeiro misses. Some good hitters are going to miss, but I mean, the team's only so big. We're looking at 28 players. Candy Maldonado will back up left field, just beating Max Venable. Well, Max didn't have enough at bats, so he wouldn't make it. Ken Griffey Jr. doesn't make it since we've already had 2 center fielders and we've used all the at-large spaces. Tony Fernandez will start at shortstop. Jerry Brown will start at second. Luis Rivera will start at shortstop, although there's a problem there. He is tired because he needs a rest day. He has 17 consecutive days played, so he will be on the team, but he will not participate. So we'll still need a backup shortstop. Carlton Fisk will catch. I've missed the starting catcher somehow. Go back up here. See if I can find him. There he is. Brian Harper will start at catcher. He just squeezed by. And Carlton Fisk will back him up. Backing up second base will be Jody Reed. And Alan Trammell will be the backup shortstop. I believe that's everyone. Okay, so how am I going to put this team together? Because I need a new file or season to do that. So we're going to create a new draft league. Under Utilities, we're going to go to Create New Draft League. And we're going to pick the year 1990. And we're going to make up a name like 1990 All-Stars. Okay. And we're going to create new teams, 2 leagues, American and National, 1 division league, and 1 team in each division. We're going to import players from this file, and we're going to push Create League. Then we're going to wait for that to come up, and we're going to fill it with players. And we're going to draft them from the collection of players that this file that you're looking at right now has. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe the statistics will transfer over, that we'll just see their basic real statistics from the real season. But we still know the players' names, and it shouldn't be too difficult to do. First, let's see if we can set up the teams. There we have a team 1, and we don't like this color. For the National League, they're playing in Chicago, so we're going to take the blue color there. And we're going to make this black, maybe, as a road background, although we're not going to be playing on the road. And we're going to call this the National. Promised myself I was going to do that, like a teacher. There we go. And I do know how to spell league. I apologize. Had a brain issue there. We're back. Now you could assign the home park, but since we're only playing an exhibition game, we won't do that. And then down here we should be able to find a logo that's appropriate for the time period. And we'll assign that. And we'll do that. And there we have a roster. Okay. And you would do that for the American League as well. I'm not going to do that because, like a cooking show, we've already got one baked in the oven to show you. But there pops up national. And then we'll go to draft. And we would draft players. And I would choose the manual draft once it repopulates because you don't have to go back and forth. Once you've decided which players you're going to choose, it doesn't seem too difficult. You just have to go through. I use names like, let's start off with Magadan. Once that typing comes through, he should be the only name. I only use last names. When I try to do first names, then I had issues. You just do Dave Magadan, click it there, and then draft the player. And then you could look and make sure he's there. There he is. Okay. And you just do that for each player on your team, for both teams. As I said, we don't need to do that. We should have the rosters finished. Let's see if I'm correct. Fingers crossed. Both teams should be completed and ready to play after I finish this. We'll see. There's the National League. And let's see. There's our pitchers. And these are the guys that made it that we just talked about. Doug Drabek, John Tudor, Frank Viola, Danny Darwin, Mike Hartley, Jeff Brantley, Randy Myers, Mark Thurman, Larry Anderson, and Lee Smith. In this game, the top 4 starters, these 4, including Darwin, will get to pitch the majority of the game. Mike Hartley will be as a backup in case we go into extra innings or if he were needed for the last out, and then these guys will come in towards the end and be used in matchup situations. I've already talked to you about which players here will be starters. Once we put that together, we'll probably substitute around the 5th inning, except for the 2 wild cards, Daniels and Strawberry. They'll probably pinch hit for the pitchers. And it could stay in the game. It just depends on what's going on, how the game is going. Here's the American League roster. And as I talked about, Luis Rivera needs rest, so we're not going to play him. Alan Trammell, we'll do that part for him. Again, pinch hitting for the pitcher would be McGriff and Barfield. That can get switched around depending on how it benefits the team. I'm going to leave the strategizing to the computer, but I will move people around based on what I think is correct. Then to play the game, once we have both rosters ready and the game repopulates, we're going to do an unscheduled, we'll just do an exhibition. And the home team is the National League, and the American League will be on the road. And that game was for real life, played at Wrigley Field. And that was a night game. So we'll set it up. That should come up like a regular game. And in our next video, we'll play the game. Just wanted to show you how to do that, and I hope it helps you with your rosters or your possible All-Star game in the future. And we'll see you next time with the All-Star game on Missed It by How Much. Thanks for watching.